Caution is advised.
Hey everyone, welcome back to Board Games Unlocked, and today I'm doing a no run-through review for Dice Settlers. So my no run-through reviews seem to be over games I don't like, or expansions. I'm sad. I really am. Okay, so first thing I gotta say, I don't hate this game. And, but I don't really like it either, so I'm kind of in the middle. So here's why. Okay, so this is a Kickstarter game. I got it on a whim. I watched Rahdo's, run through for it, and I was like, you know what? That seems interesting. I think I was in like a Euro-y mood at the time of watching it. I'm like, you know what? I'll back it. I'll give it a shot. And Niskin Games, actually, who's the designer? David Turchi. He did Simurgh, I believe. At least the company, Niskin Games, did Simurgh. And I really like Simurgh. And so I think that's another reason why I backed it. But, okay, let me just talk about things that I don't like about it. Which is weird. It's going to be weird because it's not a lot. Like, I don't really dislike anything about the game. Except that it's extremely racist. No, I'm kidding. It's not. But what's funny is that if you get the deluxe edition, which this is, which I'm talking about the deluxe edition, every player, every color has their own tents, like their own unique tent models and their own house models, which is awesome. In the unboxing that you see, you'll see all of that. But the red player actually has teepees, like Native American teepees. And I just thought that was hilarious. Like, Kat and I were playing, and she made this joke, and, like, I was like, oh, the red player has teepees, and she's like, wow, and I was like, oh my god, because, red and redskin, and, all of that people, could be offended by. It's not. I do not think that was the intent. It just so happened that they had, regular teepees. And I just had to talk about that because I thought it was coincidentally funny. But no, the game works. Like so what you do in this game is you roll dice. Your dice are like your different types of workers. You roll them. They have faces of different actions, and then on your turn you have to do one action, and then in the two-player game anyway, you go back and forth. Everyone does one action, and then you may do a second action. And that's it. That's the action phase. You only ever can do a max of 2, unless you lay tiles that give you an extra action. Then you do another one immediately. And you spend your dice, and then they go into a spent pool. And then you draw dice from your bag, and you only get the spent pool whenever you have nothing left to draw. Simple bag building kind of stuff. And that's pretty much it. So the two things that I can think of that I don't like, and one of them is actually a design flaw that I found. These dice, okay, the game is gorgeous. I'm gonna get that out of the way. The deluxe edition is fantastic. I love how every color has their own separate tents and has their own separate house designs. That's awesome. The dice are very hefty, colorful, bright. Very clear design. The tiles are very thick, and I talk about this all in the unboxing, but for those of you that don't watch them, I'll just reiterate that it's amazing. All the deluxe components, the wood, or the resources, the wood, the food, the iron, and the gold, all that is fantastic. It is an amazing production. But the dice are so big, and you put them in these cloth bags that are too small, and this is actually kind of annoying. Like, it's really annoying because you're trying to mix up your dice, but you really can't. Like, once you're getting enough dice and you're putting them in your bag, you're like, oh, I guess I'm just taking the top again. Like, they really messed up there on trying to have bigger bags so you can actually get your whole hand in there, move them around, and then draw what you need to. Another small design is that with the deluxe edition anyway, you have a cardboard piece that's supposed to represent how many dice you can draw from your bag, and they were meant for these cubes, which were originally supposed to be, your tents were, cubes, and then the other ones were like Monopoly houses for your houses. but if you have the deluxe edition, you have the tents, the plastic tents, but then you can't really put that into to mark your. So you still have to use some of the cubes. That was kind of annoying. Those are pretty much the only design flaws that I can think of. One of the things that I actually didn't like about this game is one of the actions you can take, and it's actually a die result. It's like trade, and what you do is you basically remove a die from the game, like one of your own dice from the game, to get 3 points, or you can remove like sets of stuff, like sets of 3 resources or something, to get like 9 points. And each game there's a certain number of tokens, like a point pool, which other games have done, that if that point pool runs out, that's one way the game can end. So there's a way for you to just easily just get points. That's my own personal preference. I don't like games where you can just do pretty much nothing and get points for it. That was one of my biggest gripes originally with like Twilight Imperium, where you can just grab the 8 tile and just get a point. It's like you don't fucking do anything. Like, you should earn these points, not just be like, hey, lucky me, I got the die result. Oh, yep, I'll get rid of that, and then I'll get points. Now, there is endgame scoring that you get points for each die you have, so you're essentially throwing away some points at the end of the game for points immediately. But ultimately, I still didn't like that. Like, I just don't like ways that I feel like in a victory point, winning condition game, like you should have to earn your victory points. That's pretty much my only big negatives. Now, why I'm doing a no run-through review for it is because the game is pretty boring. Like, that's really just kind of what it comes down to. I think it's a decent gateway game, but not even then, because it's still a bit more complicated than it needs to be. Like, in terms of, you have all these actions, and it's like, okay, can I spend all the dice of the same for one action, or is it only one die? Like, and the answer to that is your action is like the resource action or something. So if you have 3 pumpkins, you can spend all those 3 dice as your one resource action and stuff like that. But the tiles are kind of boring. Like, they're good quality, they're very thick and they're colorful, but your explore action is literally just drawing a tile and then placing it somewhere and then putting your tent on it. And some of them will have, abilities that trigger if you place it, and that's pretty much that. Like, and then you're like, okay, well, this tile I'll take because it's a mountain tile, and I need a mountain tile to have my presence on. Presence means you have a tent on it or a house. And if I have the most, then I can draw more dice. Alright, well, that was my turn. And, like, if you place a tile, and, like, you place one of your tents from the pool, from a general pool, and then your opponent, if they're adjacent to that tile, they can also place one from their personal supply, and then you, in turn, can place one of your tents from your, so you have control over it. And that's that. And then you have control. And how you place houses, which is, you have 5 houses in the game. One way to end the game is someone places all 5 of them. You have to have 3 more tents than someone else. So if someone has 5 tents, you need 8 there. Or something like that. And it's like, oh my god. Like, the game works. Fundamentally, mechanically, it works. There's really, I have no problem with how the game plays at all. Ultimately, I just don't want to do it for the channel because it's boring. I feel like it'd be boring to watch. It's boring for everyone to play. Like, whenever I played it, I was like, alright, well, that was that game. And I asked Kat, I'm like, so what do you think? She's like, that's all I got. And that's about right. Like, the game is just, is boring for us. I like Euro games, which I'm kind of contributing this to that, I like Euro games to have, a sense of, like, work to it, because there wasn't ever really a sense of, like, what do they call it, like a gear to it, or whatever people say, where it's like, oh, I got my own thing going, yeah, I'm the gray dice guy. Like, you can be the gray dice guy. Woo! It really doesn't change anything. Yeah, all the different colored dice have different results. Most of the gray dice have a raid icon, which all that means is you take someone's tent and replace it with yours. yippee! You give them their tent back, so you're really like you just now have control. And as a free action, like if you're on a tile with no one on it and you have 3 tents, hey, as a free action, I place a house. All right, great. And you get points, by the way, at the end of the game for how many houses you have. And everyone can do that. There was just nothing to it. Like everyone, there was really no interaction between players except kind of like fighting for control over these boring looking tiles. Like nothing. There was no events. There was no engine. That's one thing. There was really no engine. Like I just got dice just for the sake of having dice. Like I never was like, oh man, I really need to. I really need to play. I really need to get some orange dice because that's going to help me in this. It's not like Roll for the Galaxy where you want these specific dice because you really need to do something. You're like, okay, well these dice are going to generate me way more technology so I'm going to need a lot of them. There's really, in my opinion, no reason to play it. Which it's weird for me to say because it's not a bad game. It's just like no one's gonna remember this game, like at all. I mean, I might remember the production quality, but at $75, I bet it better be produced well, and it is. Like, don't get me wrong, they did well on their Kickstarter. They went all out. I weirdly got a promo for a game I don't even own, but I think it's the same company, and it also was recently on Kickstarter. One thing I should say is that the game isn't just the tiles and nothing to it. The game comes with a solo mode. I didn't try it because I didn't like the game enough to try it. But there are technologies that you ultimately strive for. That, like, one of them is like, okay, if you have presence on a plains tile and on a mountain tile, and you roll the 2 lanterns, which are your technology icons, great. You can spend those 2. Oh, I have presence there and there. I can place one of my markers on a certain technology that requires that. Great. That means at the end of the game, I get an extra point for each house I have. Something like that. Like, or oh, okay, well, I'm on a plains tile. That's all this technology needs. And now it increases how many dice I can draw. Like, so there are technologies that are out on the game that kind of will change how the game is played, but not really, because like a lot of them are like, okay, your fire icons can also be raid. You can use them as raid, or it's like your hat icons can now be used as explorer, or something like that. It just kind of also like your icons for your dice, so it kind of mitigates the luck. Which I will say, I didn't care. Like in a dice game, I figured that would be a huge crux. Like, oh my god, I really need to get these results. But I was like, all right, I got what I got, and I guess I'll just do something with these. I'm like, oh, hey, I can use my hats as more technology or something like that. So, hey, I have 4 technology. That's what I need. Great. Like, I can't really say anything good about the game except my cat just opened my door. So, anyway, I can't really say anything good about the game because there's not a whole lot that is memorable. I can think of plenty of other games, like I just mentioned one, Roll for the Galaxy. I'd rather play that a million times over than this. The artwork is pretty. When there is artwork, there's really none on the technology tiles. Some on the back. There's really none on the tiles. Did I say technology? Technology cards. There's art on the back of those. They're literally just colors. Like, pretty much. Like the mountains just have some slight mountains, but there's no detail. There's no, or there's no insane detail to it. Like, I think all this game has going for it, in all honesty, is just how well it's made. But as a game, it does not work for me. And that's pretty much all I got. Like, I cannot think of really anything else to say about it. I have nothing really bad to say. Like I said, I have nothing really good to say. So, on a scale of 1 to 10, it's a 5. It's an average game. Like, I wouldn't say it's below average. Like, it does. Normally, I don't say this, but it does what it wanted to do, I guess. I don't know if it was trying to be the next sweet dice game, but it is definitely not that. Niskin, I'd rather play Submerg because that has some inkling of a theme. This kind of does. Yeah, your pioneers settling for just something. You're just doing something. You're really just sitting there rolling dice and just that's it. Like, play anything else. But it's not above average either. Production quality is. So production quality, I'd give it like an 8 or a 9. Like, it's really good. In fact, actually, the point markers are stars, and if you don't get the deluxe, you get tokens they're circular tokens that have a 1 for a star and then a 5 for other stars. But the deluxe actually came with plastic stars, which I thought was pretty neat. I was happy with that. I ooze over it in the unboxing because of how well it's made, so go check that out if you want to see, you know, the component quality for all of this. But yeah, it's a 5 out of 10. So let me know what you think of Dice Settlers in the comments below. Other than that, like, comment, share, and subscribe, and have a wonderful whatever time of day it is for you. Hey everyone, thanks so much for watching this, and if you like this video, then click the subscribe button below to enjoy any video that I put out. And right next to that subscribe button is a little bell. Click that so you get notified of whenever I actually upload these videos. If you want to support the channel, you can definitely visit my Patreon page. The link is in the description below. Other than that, like, comment, share, and subscribe, and have a wonderful whatever time of day it is for you.